Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Football. Time to talk about the forward options. So we've already done one for the goalkeepers, one for the defenders, and another one for the midfielders. But now it's time to talk about the forward players, the strikers. Who's going to get the goals for our teams? Before that, make sure to join the league. The code is scrolling down the bottom, and let's get to it. So there's a lot of forward players. This is why I always have problems picking my team in terms of the forward players. For the midfielders, we can pick five. For the defenders, we can pick five. For the strikers, we can only pick three, and there's so many to pick from. Should we choose Haaland? Should we choose Marmoush? Should we choose Harry Kane? Should we go for Lewandowski instead? He always gets goals. Should you go for Mbappe? Should you go for Gyökeres is new at Arsenal? Should you go for Isaac is new at Liverpool? Like, there's so many players to choose from, but we can only have three, and you can't always have the expensive ones all the time. You're going to have to mix it up a little bit. So in this one, you're going to talk about one premium pick, one mid-priced pick, and also another budget options in terms of the price. So let's start with the premium option, and the one I've chosen to go for in this video is Harry Kane. 10.5 million is what it's going to cost you. That's the most you can pay for applying the game. 23% owned at the moment. Now, why is Harry Kane that expensive? Now, we all know why is that expensive and how good he is. So far this season, Harry Kane has already scored a hat-trick in the Bundesliga, and he already has 6 goals and 2 assists in just 4 matches so far this season. Absolutely incredible. Like, the numbers are crazy. Now, he hasn't played the second game for England during this international break yet. The first one, he didn't really get to score, but don't be surprised if he does get a goal in the second one. And for Bayern Munich, when you look at their fixtures, and they have Pafos in match day 2 and they have Club Brugge in match day 3, Harry Kane is always a good option. Even when he was at Tottenham, he's always a good option because he's always going to get you goals. And now he's usually very expensive, and there's usually very many other options, including his own teammates that I've already talked about in a couple of other videos. But Harry Kane is on penalties. He rarely misses those penalties. If Bayern scored 3 or 4 goals, he's probably going to be involved in at least a couple of them. And he's a very hard player to pick in the team, obviously because of the money, but I think it's worth every single penny. Last season in total in the Champions League, he had 11 goals and 2 assists. So that is 13 attacking returns in the Champions League last season. And obviously Bayern Munich didn't even, get to the final or anything. If they had gone all the way to the final, you probably would have been looking at least 17 goal returns or something. So he had a total of 86 points, and he also picked up player of the match 3 times. So always a very good option, Harry Kane, and his fixtures are not that bad. There's somewhere he's going to have a couple of tough ones, like at the beginning Chelsea, and then in the middle are going to have PSG away and Arsenal away. Maybe at that point you try and get different options, but again, like Arsenal and Bayern Munich, I'm not expecting a 0-0. PSG and Bayern Munich, I'm not expecting a 0-0. If there's anyone who's going to score in those kind of fixtures, is going to be Harry Kane. So match day 2 and 3 are looking very good for Harry Kane, and at the end, from match day 6 all the way to the end, it's looking very good for him, especially if they're still trying to qualify. Always a very, very good option to have. Now, you can always have Mbappe in your team instead. You can always go for an Erling Haaland. Both of them are very good options as well up front. Maybe some of you would go for all 3 options. If you go for all 3 options, then you're going to need budget options in midfield and also in defense and goalkeeping, because these guys are very, very expensive. But those are the other options in that price range that you can go for. Now, let's talk about the mid-priced forwards. So Guirassy is who I've gone for. He's going to cost you 8 million. He's currently owned by 22%. Last season, Rafinha had a very top Champions League season, but I think the second player to follow him was Guirassy in terms of impact in the Champions League last season. He was absolutely phenomenal. So 103 points last season in the Champions League. He had 13 goals and 4 assists. That is really good, considering Dortmund did not get that far in the Champions League. 13 goals and 4 assists is very good. Had they gotten to the final like they did the previous year, I think you'd have gotten to 20 goal returns in the Champions League. And that is really good. That's not even that far from the record, because Rafinha just broke the record last season in terms of most goal involvements in the Champions League season. Guirassy wasn't that far, 5-6 of them, you'd have been there as well. And Dortmund went out quite early. Now, he's the focal point for Dortmund. that last season in those 13 goals, 2 of them outside the box, so he get extra points, and he also earned 3 penalties. So he was also on those penalties too. I think he missed one, if I'm not wrong, when I had him, but still a very, very good option. Fourth highest scoring asset last season. Now Juventus, their fixtures are not that easy. They have Juventus away, fast Dortmund. I don't think Juventus is going to concede 2-3 goals at their place. They're going to play Athletic Bilbao at home, and then they're going to have Copenhagen away, Man City away, Villarreal at home, Bodo Glimt at home, Spurs away, Inter Milan away. So you don't really want a Gurazzi, against Inter Milan, or against a Juventus away, against a Man City away, although you can score in those fixtures. I think you want him from match day 2 around there. You can even start with him. I mean, there's no one saying he's not going to score against Juventus, especially because he's on penalties as well. He can easily score. But the best time to have him looks like between match day 3 and match day 6. So he's going to play Copenhagen away, Villarreal at home, and Bodo Glimt at home. So he's definitely one to consider for our teams, especially out the season he had last season. So far this year, 4 goals in 3 matches already. So he's not stopped scoring this season. He's still scoring the goals that we need him to score. Now, other options in his price range, players like Pavlidis, who has a very good first game for Benfica, a really good start to the season. After that, you're going to decide whether you're going to keep Pavlidis for Chelsea, Newcastle away tough fixtures, but he does have Karabakh at home. I watched Greece highlights the other day. I'm sure Pavlidis scored when they scored 5 or 6 goals. He scored in that game as well, so he's still a very good option. And you can also go for Thuram from Inter Milan, who have the best fixtures for me in this season's Champions League league phase. So Gurazzi is the second option. Now let's go to the third and final option, the cheapest option that I've gone for in this video. That is Luis Suarez, who I've already talked about in a couple of other videos. Is going to cost you 5 million and is currently owned by only 1%. So Luis Suarez, phenomenal option, man. It's not easy to get a striker who's going to only cost you 5 million, especially if you want to have let's say if you already have Kane and Mbappe in your team, and you already have Salah in midfield, and maybe a Saka or a Palma in midfield, and I'll only say you can't also go for a Haaland up front as well, unless you're going to have 4 million defenders at the back. You're going to have to get the money from elsewhere. So one position you can get that money is if you go for a cheap striker like Luis Suarez, who's been great already this season. He's a new player. He was signed to replace Victor Gyökeres. 4 attacking returns already this season in 4 matches. Last season he had 39 attacking returns for Almeria. So he definitely knows where the goal is. And Sporting's fixture at the beginning is the best fixture probably in match day 1, playing against newcomers Kairat at home. And even after that, they do have Napoli away and Marseille at home. Not that bad. So for the first 3 match days, I think Luis Suarez is a great option to have, just like it was for the other Luis Suarez all those years ago. So cheaper options in striker position. Last time we didn't have too many, so this time we have a couple, and Luis Suarez is one of them. Again, depends on your plan. If you're planning to wildcard in match day 2, you can go for a couple of differentials in match day 1, like Luis Suarez, if you don't want him for Napoli away in match day 2. If you're playing a limitless, again, you can also go for Suarez in match day 1. I play a limitless match day 2 and take him out, and then you still have him back for match day 3 when he's playing at home to Marseille, and then maybe play a wildcard in match day 4 and he's going to away to Juventus. So there's a lot of way you can approach this depending on the plan for your team. So you have to know when you're going to play limitless, when you're planning to play your wildcard. Are you going to be an aggressive manager? You just want all the solid picks right now, all the differential options right now. You want the points from match day 1. You already have your plans for your limitless and all that, so you're just going to be a wait and see manager to see how he does match day 1, and then maybe bring in match day 2. It all depends on which kind of manager you are, when you're planning to play your wildcard in a limitless, all that. But it's definitely a fantastic option in that price range, and there's not too many budget options usually for the striker position. So that's it for the strikers. There's a lot of other options, as I've said. There's other options I didn't mention as well that could obviously be in your team. So you've already talked about the goalkeepers. We've already talked about the defenders, the midfielders. I've also talked about the budget options, the best budget options, the best hidden gems. All those videos have been put in a playlist. The playlist is now on screen. You can click on that to watch all the videos to plan for your team for next season. We now have 8 days until that deadline. We'll be live for that deadline. I cannot wait for Champions League Fantasy to return. Make sure to join the league, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.